remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have the right to an attorney prior to and during any questioning. You can't afford one, the court will appoint one for you. You understand your rights?
Your crime spree was over, son. Yeah, you thought you had it licked, but hitman in overtone made you shoulda turned to shit. Get ready, you're gonna do time. Real life, real crime.
Warning. Each episode of Real Life, Real Crime, the podcast, may contain descriptions of acts of violence or of a sexual nature and is intended for people that are 18 years or older. Heed my warning, people. Jim and I do not get the facts of these cases off of the internet or from some television show. The facts I'm retelling were told to us by the victims of the crimes or the perpetrators who committed the crimes against the victim. My description of the crime scenes are what I saw with my own two eyes. If you're going to get offended, please turn this podcast off now. Thank you.
Woody, what do you typically do to prepare for an interview like this?
Turn left onto Louisiana Highway 1036.
It's my OCD that gets me. So I'll run in different scenarios through my head like a million times on the way I want to put the human face on Barbara Blount, etc. But you have to understand, you know, real life, real crime, and me. I'm 12 years late to this dance. We're literally starting from scratch, and that's what we're doing today.
Woody and our producer, Toby, are driving to the Blount property to interview Barbara Blount's daughter, Christy. Today is Friday, March 6th, and it's 10 a.m.
In my mindset, it's like the crime just occurred. Somebody just abducted Barbara Blount, and I'm doing exactly what I would be doing if I was the homicide detective on the case, which is starting with the family members. You have to exclude the inner circle first and then work your way out.
Arrived.
Hey, how you doing?
How are you?
Great.
Normally, we go in? Oh.
You good? You got it. Very nice to meet
Nice to meet you.
I'm on a hug.
Excuse the mess,
From my house.
Never mind.
but it's lived in, so.
That's right. That's what I always tell people about mine.
Lived in, and I have an 8 and 9-year-old.
Yep. I have a 9-year-old also. These bucks killed here?
Right across, one was killed about 2 miles, the one on this side was killed about 2 miles up the road, and that one was killed right behind the field across the road.
Well, wherever y'all are most comfortable. Where would you be most comfortable?
Couch is fine.
Hello, everybody. It's Woody Overton, your host of Real Life, Real Crime, the podcast. I'm going to be doing a very special interview today on the Miss Barbara Blount's case, what happened to Barbara Blount. Jim Raffman is not with me today. He's working the case diligently from Orlando, going through the case file and everything that was provided to us by Sheriff Ard. But I'm going to be interviewing Miss Barbara Blount's daughter, Christy. And so y'all know we're raw and unscripted and unedited. Nothing's going to be taken out of this interview. You're going to get what's real. Okay? And now, lifers, we need your help. We're going to put the hotline in today's episode and everything else. We need your tips. I don't care what it is that you might have heard in the past 11 or 12 years about Miss Barbara Blount's case, or if you have a theory or whatever it is, there's no idea that's dumb, call it in. Let us work it, okay? That's how we're going to solve this case. Somebody out there knows what happened to Miss Barbara Blount, and we need your help. You got to step up. So y'all listen to this today, my interview with Miss Christie, and think about it if it was your mama or your grandmother or your sister or your family member that had been missing for this long. All right, with that, I'm gonna say good morning, Miss Christie.
Good morning.
Thank you for having me, and I really appreciate you. This is not an easy process, obviously, for you, but I just want to talk to you today about your mama, and I want the difference is, Christy, I want people to know who Barbara Blount was, right? I don't just want them to read some newspaper article. This is where we get to put the human face on Miss Barbara, right? I mean, I know they run a news ad on it every year or something like that. Not an ad or whatever you call it, a spot on the news, or somebody may write something about it or whatever. But that doesn't do it justice. I mean, and I'll tell you why. Ever since I started Real Life, Real Crime, I mean, after the first episode, somebody sent me something saying, hey, are you ever going to do something on Miss Barbara Blount's case? Now, as the year went on, and we're only a year old, a year and a month, as the year went on, the request to work your mama's case kept coming up again and again. And when we started the Courtney Coco case, it went crazy. I mean, I was getting sometimes 3 people a day hitting me up saying, hey, Miss Barbara was an awesome lady. And none of them had the same last name. I'm talking about people just from Livingston Parish and wherever. They were like, this case needs to be solved, right? And this family needs closure. Can you work this? And it got to such a point where I started telling. First of all, I didn't have the time. I always knew the case, right? But of the case, but I told them, I said, you need to start call your sheriff. If you want me to work it, call your sheriff. And evidently they bombarded him. And as you know, about a month and a half ago, he reached out to me about working this. And then when he and I, maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, I met with him the first time, started going through the file stuff. And then he and I did the release about the episode last week about what happened to Barbara Blount, right? And I have to take my hat off to him. I mean, as you know, years ago, I met Christy for the first time this week at the sheriff's office just to break the ice and to see if I could come and sit down and talk to you, et cetera. And like I told you then, I used to work as a detective for Livingston before I went as a detective with the state police. And for Sheriff R to take this approach, it's pretty big. I mean, it really is visionary. It's unheard of, but we've had success, right? And the difference is on this one, on your mama's case, in Courtney Coco's case, is we have law enforcement's cooperation. They're not fighting us. And so, listeners, I want to tell you something. This case is being worked, and it's being worked. Sheriff R has assigned a ton of resources to it, but we're working it. Jim and I are working it on our own end also. But to have their help is I think is really going to give us a leg up. All right, so back to all these people contacting me, independent of each other. It's not like they had a coalition and say, let's, hound Woody in the work of Barbara Blount's case. So that tells me your mama had to be something really special. And I want to learn about her today. And can you tell me some of your family history? Like, were you born and raised here? I actually don't know this.
My mom was born and raised in Bogalusa.
Okay, in Washington Parish, which is
Yes.
only 2 parishes over away from here.
And then I don't remember what year she moved. She was living with her sister in Denham Springs.
Okay,
And she met my dad through her brother-in-law.
okay.
They dated 4 months and then they got married.
Really?
They were married for 33 years.
Wow. And
So.
wow, that's awesome. And I know, can you tell the listeners, if you don't mind, what happened to your daddy?
He got killed in a car accident. He drove a tanker and he was hit by a train.
Right, and it was a pretty traumatic,
Yes.
bad thing, right? Was it St. James or St. John Parish?
It's St. Bernard, I think.
St. Bernard, okay.
Bernard.
And then I'm sorry for that. I mean, I knew that. How old were you when that happened?
I was 26.
Right, and that was in 2004, right?
Right.
And then, what did your mama do for a living?
At the time, she was working at Southern Eye Center. She worked doing glasses and stuff.
Okay, because the reason I asked that is because I don't think it was just people from Livingston that were contacting me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think some from Baton Rouge and different places and Hammond. I was like, I don't know what she did, right? She must have really got around, but wherever she went, evidently she made an impact on people,
Mm-hmm.
right? So when they were married 33 years, y'all were raised out here or where?
Right next door.
Okay, so we are, I guess you call it the Blount family property, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when you say right next door, that was your mama's house?
Right.
That she went basically, and I hate to use, I'm not trying to be harsh or whatever, but basically she had to be abducted or lured out of that house. So,
Yes.
and y'all, when I was outside, Miss Christie, right before we started, if you look across the field, you can see the house. It sits off the roadways, and so I mean we're actually on that property right now. And so y'all were raised in that house, and it's you and your brother.
The house was built when I was 3 years old.
Okay,
So
all right. And y'all had they had cows and stuff.
we had
I mean,
cows.
and I mean we're in a really rural area for the people that are listening. Way north of Holden. We got to be close to the St. Helena line.
2 miles.
2 miles. See, I used to patrol all this way back in the day, and I was telling Toby, my producer, on the way up here, I said I could tell you a story about just about everywhere up here. I did this here and did that there. So, you and your brother, that's it?
Right.
Okay, and how far are y'all apart in age?
2.5 years apart.
All right. He's older or younger?
He's older.
All right. And so you were raised there, and your daddy died in 2004. And what did your mama do after your daddy died?
She basically just took care of the cows. She still took care of us even though we were grown.
Right.
And just took care of the property,
Yeah.
cut the grass.
I saw I'm gonna have to call them crime scene photos, original crime scene photos. And when you shoot photos like that, you shoot everything from every angle because you never know what you might miss or need to look at years later on. It's a very nice brick style country home, but it was immaculate. The outside was well kept. I even saw the tractor in one picture. So is that the tractor she used to cut the grass or
The lawnmower.
the lawnmower?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then Real Life, Real Crime is sponsored by Grand Central Publishing and Old Bones. And Old Bones' #1 best-selling authors, Preston and Child, bring the true story of the ill-fated Donner Party to new life in a thrilling blend of murder, suspense, archaeology, and history. Nora Kelly, a young curator at the Santa Fe Institute of Archaeology, is approached with a once-in-a-lifetime proposal. Lead a team in search of the so-called Lost Camp of the Donner Party. This was a group of pioneers who earned a terrible place in American history when they became infamously snowbound in the California mountains in 1847. Their fate unknown until a few survivors stumbled out of the wilderness, raving about starvation, murder, and cannibalism. Once in the mountains, Nora, along with FBI agent Corey Swanson, learns that discovering the camp is only the first step in a mounting journey of fear. They'll find the real truth of what happened is far more shocking and bizarre than mere cannibalism, and those ancient horrors are about to lead to present-day violence on a grand scale. Old Bones is available now in paperback wherever books are sold. Visit PrestonChild.com for more information. The inside of the house was almost like OCD clean. Everything was spaced right. Was she that kind of person?
She was always clean. Everything had to be perfect.
Yeah. And in fact, on the day that she went missing, wasn't she supposed to be doing some type of spring cleaning or something?
She was cleaning out the cabinet that had all of her pots in it.
Yeah. And so, but y'all, the pictures of the inside of this house, boy, my wife would kill me for saying this, but I mean, like you said, my house is lived in, right? Mm-hmm. And it's not that, obviously she lived there, but man, it was just so, you could tell she took pride in it.
She did.
Was she always like that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Can you tell me about growing up, what kind of mama she was? Or?
She was a great mom. She always took care of us, made sure she even washed and dried all our clothes. Mm. She fixed supper every day, just stuff like that.
Yeah. What was your favorite thing that she cooked?
Crawfish etouffee.
Really?
Yes.
Y'all boil the crawfish yourselves, or?
She would buy the packs.
Yeah.
And she would make it. Hers was the only etouffee that I would eat.
Really?
Now everything's changed. It's it's different. But I would only eat her crawfish etouffee and her chicken and dumplings.
Wow, chicken! I bet she could make a mean pot of chicken and dumplings. That's good
really
country. I'm from the countryside, from the East Louisiana Parish, and so almost as rural as this. So evidently everybody liked her. Can you tell me about her personality?
I don't think she had any enemies. She was straightforward. She always did what was right, and if it was wrong, she would tell you it was wrong.
Right.
She was a Christian. She went to church every Sunday night, every Wednesday. She was at church unless she was sick.
Right, and I heard that she's a very Christian lady and of strong character.
She read her Bible every day.
Yeah.
Said her prayers every morning and every night before she went to bed.
Yeah. I don't know. First of all, I'm going to tell you this, and I told you this the other day, and I should have started out with this. I truly am sorry, and I can't imagine, and I'm blessed that my mom is still alive. Obviously, I'm a lot older than you, and I actually called her the other day after I left our interview, right? And I think I should try to call them every day because you just don't know. But it would be one thing to lose my mom at old age. It's a whole different nightmare that you're living. And it's like ripping off a scab for you. I know you miss her every day, but can you let's go back to that time and just tell me what you remember about it, or that day, or
I left for work.
This is May
2nd.
May 2nd,
2008.
2008.
I would always go up there, before I left for work. I didn't have to be at work till 10 or 11. She would always make sure we had something to eat before we went to work.
That's
and
awesome,
I had a
right?
little dog, and I would always drop my dog off up there so she could watch her.
Wow.
And then pick her up on the way home. And I ate, and she had some pots out on the floor. She said, whenever you leave, I'm going to finish cleaning out my cabinets.
Yeah.
My pots in it. And I said, okay. I told her bye, kissed her bye, and I left, and I went to work.
Yeah.
And then after work, when I got to work, it started raining hard.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it was around 1 or 1:30. I worried about her all the time. I would always call and check on her. I started calling, well, she didn't answer.
Did you call her cell phone or house phone?
I called both.
Okay.
And I called till probably about 3 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
And then I
Is that
called,
unusual for her not to answer?
Yes, very unusual.
Okay.
And sometimes she would go to Denham Springs and take my aunt shopping or wherever she needed to go. Well, I called and she wasn't there. And I called my brother and he hadn't heard from her. And I called my other aunt in Bogalusa. Nobody had heard from her.
Mm-hmm.
So my cousin that lives next door, I called him and I said, could you go check? I said, I'm leaving work and I'm coming home. So he went to check. He called me when he got there. I told him where the key was. He said, her car's here. He said, just stay on the phone with me.
He said her car is here?
I mean, not her car. Her car's not here.
Okay.
And he said, just stay on the phone with me. And he said, the door is locked, but it's open.
So it was locked, but it wasn't pulled to.
Right.
Okay.
At the time, you had to pull it really hard
Mm-hmm.
for it to latch. And he walked in. He said, it's raining. The windows are open.
Mm-hmm.
And there was pots on the floor. So, well, she was cleaning her pots,
Right.
cleaning out her cabinet where her pots were. So he shut the windows because it was raining inside the house.
Right.
And he was hollering for her. And he said, I don't see her. And I said, just walk through the house. So he said, just stay on the phone with me, while I walk through the house. And he said, she's not here. I said, well, I don't know where she's at. I said, I'm coming home. Well, he left and he went back home and he said, don't go to the house, come to my house. So I went to his house and he was calling, he said, I'm going to call and, make a report. Well, I went to his house and whenever I was standing there, the deputy passed. And he was on the phone with him. He said, you just passed my house. And he said, wait. And he said, we're going to another call. They had 2 calls. Somebody had seen her car, and they called.
Mm-hmm.
And they put 2 and 2 together, and they realized that was her car.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And tell me about where that car was.
It was probably less than a quarter of a mile down on Hunting Club Road. But it was pulled off in between 2 trees.
Right. But that road, that Hunting Club Road, do they call it the CC Road? Or do you know what they call it?
We called it number 7.
Right. All right.
I
And
think it's
that's not
Melray
far.
Road or something.
Yeah, that's not far from here.
No.
Yeah, about how far, if you had to guess?
Less than a quarter of a mile.
Less than a quarter of a mile. And so somebody was going down the Hunting Club Road and called it in, or do
They
you
were
know?
going down the main road,
Mhm.
and they just happened to see it, and they thought somebody had ran off,
Right.
in there. And when they came back, his mom was with him. She said, don't go down there. And she looked, and the keys were out by the road on the ground.
So when the deputy said we're responding to a car, y'all went down there?
My cousin did.
Okay.
I didn't
And what's
hear-
his name?
Raymond.
Okay. And then is your brother's name Raymond also?
Ricky.
Ricky, okay. So he went down there, and then what did he tell you happened?
When he came back, and he said it was her car down there.
Yeah.
He said, she's not down there, but it's her car.
Okay.
And he said, we don't know where she was at. And that's when, I started calling everybody to see if they heard from her.
Tell me about the keys again.
The keys were laying in the gravel, but they were by the road.
Okay. And that's what your cousin told you?
That's what the lady up the road, when she came back with her son, she saw him laying there.
Okay. And do you know her name?
Christine.
Okay. And then, so what were you thinking?
I didn't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I know she just didn't just drive her car off there.
Right.
So that was just not like her.
Right. So at this time, she's not at home. The windows are left open. It's raining, and from my understanding, it's like the mother of all rainstorms.
Yeah.
They said it rained like 12 inches in an hour, which is, that's flash flood stuff guaranteed, right? So the listeners know, by the time the sheriff's office got there, and before they could get a tow truck there, it rained so hard the water came up so fast it actually flooded into the front of your mama's car and all the way up into the floorboard in the front seat. I mean, it was like I don't want to say the perfect storm as far as destroying evidence and stuff. These guys had everything working against them. And about what time is it now, if you can remember?
Probably about 4:30.
All right. So still would have been plenty of daylight. So you're at your cousin's house. What's going on?
There's my aunts and uncles are coming. My brother showed up because he was at work. It's just everybody was coming trying to figure out what do we do next.
Right.
You know, where do we go look for?
And were the cops telling y'all anything?
I think they just said they were looking, trying to figure out what happened.
Right.
And I think they went up to the house to look around the house.
Did they tell y'all not to go to the house or anything like that?
We couldn't go to the house.
They told y'all not to, right? Okay. And so I guess everybody's pretty freaked out at this point.
Right.
And then what do?
You pray.
Right.
Pray that, you know, she just shows up, or, you know, you don't know what happened to her.
Right.
You didn't know if she was sick or anything, but I mean.
But she wasn't sick then.
No.
And as a matter of fact, she was pretty healthy.
She was healthy.
Yeah. And she was 58 years old, right? And really good health. I mean, she worked in the yard all the time, obviously took care of the cows and had a garden and everything else, right? I mean, she was very active. And she had no mental issues. No history of it. So there's no theory like it was Alzheimer's or something like that or whatever. So you have a healthy, vibrant, beautiful, life-loving lady, 58 years old, a whole lot of life left to live, and she's gone.
She's gone.
And what happened the rest of that day?
I think some of it's kind of blurred out.
Yeah, just whatever you can remember.
We couldn't go up there till I think it was 9 or 10 o'clock, and they told us her phone was still there.
At the house.
That's not like her. She would not go off and leave her phone. When she went somewhere, she would let me know she was going somewhere, because she knew, you know, we always worry. And we had a lot of people just staying with us, you know, and waiting. We couldn't do any searches until I think the next day, or the day after, because of the rain and the water.
Right, and it was like bad rain. Let me ask you this: would she have ever gone anywhere without her glasses?
No.
I mean, she had to have her glasses. Can you tell me? But tell me about her vision and her glasses.
I mean, she could see without her glasses, but she could see, you know, it made it where she could see really good. But she always had them on unless she was sleeping.
Right.
And she would take them off.
Right. So her glasses, her cell phone, and what about her purse?
Her purse was gone.
Her purse was gone. Okay. But the cell phone and the glasses were there.
Were the glasses there? They were there? I don't remember.
Yeah. And let me ask you this. The house, as any good, you know, my house is an example. I mean, you walk in the door, first thing you see or deer heads on the wall and a gun cabinet, right? Your mama's house, she had the gun cabinet. I mean, one of the pictures, she had a pistol on the dresser. I mean, if some stranger pulled up her house, what would she have done?
If she didn't know him, she wouldn't open the door.
Right. And then, I mean, she certainly wasn't a stranger to a firearm, right? If something would happen, and
she knew how to use it.
Right. And what do you think what do you think, without saying any kind of suspects, names, or anything like that, that you think, what do you think could have happened to Miss Barbara to get her out of the house like that and leave her phone and her other items and leave the door open?
Somebody had to have taken her. She wouldn't willingly go with somebody unless they possibly would have threatened her that they had one of us.
Okay. So it's clear there's nothing evidence-wise in the house. The house, like I said, was immaculate except for the pots on the floor and the one little phone, like a cordless phone or something that was by. There's no blood. There's no trace of anything, and there's not in the doorway or whatever. So it's not like they shot her and right there and then drug her off or something, because there would have been evidence, right? And so, in figuring out what happened to Barbara Blount, I'm just trying to understand how they could have got her out. It seems to me like she left in a hurry, whether it's somebody came and said, like you said, we got your kid, or maybe they said, hey, one of your cows is out or something like that. Does that ever happen? Or, I mean,
Not normally. No.
I just don't understand. I'm trying to figure it out myself, right? See, I'm almost 12 years late to this investigation, and to me, I'm starting to square one, right? And which is talking to you. Can you tell me what happened in the days that follow you?
I think there was 3 days that we just walked in the woods, waded in the water, looking for any kind of piece of evidence, her, a shoe, anything.
Right, and it was a lot of people came out and volunteered,
Yes.
and the helicopters were up, and the necrosearch dogs came from Texas. I mean, there was a lot of people, right?
Right.
And nothing was found. But again, there's nothing more powerful or more destructive than moving water. And it flooded. I mean, it literally flooded. And not as bad as like in 2016. I don't know how y'all did up here in 2016, but the water came up so fast. I talked to some of the law enforcement guys that were there, and they said it's just unbelievable. They'd never seen it like that at that time. And the water came up and stayed up a little bit. And then so you have that working against you. But you would figure that everybody up here hunts, right? And I guarantee you there's not an acre around this area that somebody doesn't have at least, or run dogs on, or squirrel hunt, or rabbit hunt, or whatever. People spend time in the woods. I know that's the way I was raised. You would figure in time somebody would have stumbled across something if she was in that area.
Right.
What do you think?
I don't think she's around here. Like you said, we would have found something.
Right. And you see, lifers, the one thing is, there's no such thing as a perfect crime. It seems perfect to this point. The bad guy or bad guys or girls, whatever, whomever they are, they've gotten away with it until this point. But there's no such thing as a perfect crime. And obviously she's not in this area. So that means somebody had to move her. All right? And that means somebody knows something. Okay? And those people have family members. They may have told something over the years, or a lot of times cases like this, somebody will get drunk and let something slip, and or a wife may feel that their husband was acting funny at the time. And this is what we need. We need people to get emotionally involved about Miss Barbara and you and your family's pain, and to call in any kind of tip no matter how small, if it's just a hunch y'all have, or a thought or an idea, it may be, it's not silly. It may be the idea or the piece that we need to break this case open. Can you tell me what you miss most about your mama?
I miss seeing her every day.
Yeah. And you have kids now?
Yes, I have 2.
And your mama never got to meet them?
Never did.
I mean,
She loved kids. And that's all she wanted was grandkids. And now she has 4.
I bet she'd have been the best grandmama. What do you think they're called, a granny or grandma?
Probably Mama.
Mama?
We would have never seen them if she was still alive. They would always be at our house, I'm sure.
Mama, I bet she'd have spoiled them rotten. But
She would have.
she'd have been, but she'd have been stern with them and raised them right?
Right.
It's okay, sweetie. I mean, this is what people need to know, you know? So what do you tell your kids about your mama?
I tell them, the truth. I explain to them what happened, that we don't know where she's at, because they're old enough to understand now.
Yeah.
I mean, they talk about her, they ask about her,
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do they ask?
And they ask if they would do something, and I tell them, well, if your mama was here, you wouldn't be doing that.
Yeah.
And they just want to know how she was, and, what she did, and about her mama and daddy.
Yeah.
Just, and, about, the oldest was probably about 2. It was December, I think, of 2011. I had went to the cemetery to put flowers on my daddy's grave, and my little girl was only about 4 months old, and she was asleep, so I left her in the car. And my little boy was with me, was getting, leaves off the grave. He was happy, and we'd been there for a few minutes. The wind started blowing. Well, he acted like he got scared. He said, "Mama, I want to go." I said, "You ready to go?" "Yeah, I want to go bye-bye." I said, "What's wrong?" He said, I'm ready to go." I said, "Something scared you?" He said, "Yeah." We got in the car and we left. And I said, "What scared you?" He said, "That lady." I said, "What lady?" He said, "The lady back there." He said, "She talked to me." I said, "What did she say?" He said, "She told me she loved me." And I cried all the way home.
Yeah.
And we got home, and my husband showed him a picture of Mama. He said, "Junior, is this who you saw?" He said, "Yeah, Mama Barbara, I saw her. She told me she loved me."
Oh my God.
And it's just,
I got goosebumps.
he doesn't remember it this day.
Yeah.
But I said, a 2-year-old can't make
No.
a story like that.
And
I said,
they
no.
say children are much more perceptive to spirits, or whatever you want to call them. But she,
And he said, "She told me she loved me."
and then when he got home,
He knew it was her.
Yeah. Oh my God.
No, he doesn't remember it happening.
Yeah. But golly, I don't know what to say about that. That's amazing. I mean, I don't know. So, no doubt she'd have been the best mama in the world, right? And then to reach such love, to reach from the other side and be able to tell your son that is really awesome. I mean, I believe, I know what I know, and I believe that is certainly possible.
Never would I thought that would ever happen.
Yeah. I don't know. As the years went on, how did it make you feel? And at what point did they declare her legally dead and all that?
It was probably about 2 or 3 years after she went missing.
Yeah.
They declared her legally dead.
That's going to be tough. Even though, I mean, right? But then to say...
I know in my heart she's not on earth anymore.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I know where she's at.
Yeah.
You know, I'm at peace with that part.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
what bothers me the most is I don't know how it ended. Did she suffer?
I know.
Was it quick?
Yeah. I know.
Because she would have put up a fight.
Yeah.
She would have just took it.
So that's what really drives you, huh? And I get that.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you this, I'll share this with you. I always wondered about what I call high-risk victims. They live high-risk lifestyles. They're victims of murder, and I always wondered that last second that they called, and Jesus would come to them, you know. And then I wrote a book because when I died on the table in 2009, and my experience with it when it happened. So I can tell you this: the love that you have for your babies, and the love that you have for your mama, won't touch the love that your mama's feeling with Jesus right now. And I do not believe that he let her suffer. Okay? I don't know. I know it's tough for you. And this is why we need to do this. I want to know, and I want you to know, good, bad, or indifferent. I want you to know what happened to Barbara Blount. And I got the goosebumps again. I hope she got a good look in on him. You know what I mean? Or it was just so swift in this or whatever. I don't know, but you know what? We're going to find out. And we're going to make them pay. All right? Or I'm gonna die on my deathbed working this case.
Okay.
All right? I'm not going to get off of it. And Jim Raff is not going to get off of it. I told you this the other day. All of our victims' families become our families. Because, I mean, you and I are going to be close. I met you the other day. I liked your spirit and everything immediately. But you having me out here today and ripping off the wounds and crying and sharing these most intimate thoughts with me, that makes my heart open up even to you more. And we're going to be together a lot. And if you want to call me and just talk to me and say, hey, Woody, you know, what about this? And I'm a good listener, all right?
Okay.
And we're family from this point, all right?
Okay.
And anything else? I know you got probably 1,000 thoughts in your head, but anything else you want people to know about your mama?
She was just the kindest, the sweetest lady you'd ever meet. There's not a mean bone in her body.
Yeah.
She would do anything she could to help somebody.
Right. And nobody deserves to be abducted and murdered, but your mama is like, you know, even the people that live the high-risk lifestyles and when they get murdered, they're still victims, but your mama is on the opposite end of the scale, right? I mean, she's like the last person anybody would expect this to happen to.
And you see it happening to everybody else. And you said, that'll never happen, you know, and then it does.
Yeah.
Being up every day and wondering, you know, who did it? Am I looking at this person?
I know.
They could walk up and talk
know.
to you, and they could be the ones that did it.
I know. And let me tell you this, everybody is a suspect except when I'm working the case and Jim. Everybody is a suspect except for me and Jim, right? And I mean, you're saying that, and I get that. That's so people don't. We can't get that from a news release, right? When they said Barbara Blount's been missing X amount of years, you can't get the fact that the family lives with this. This is everyday pain, and not only your grandbabies not getting to know their grandmama, the mama, but you having always wonder. I mean, you literally have to look at the house. You literally think, how did they get her out of here? You know, or what happened? What are her last seconds like? Who did it? And, geez.
They had to be watching to know that everybody was gone, you know? And it's an eerie feeling to know you've been watched for several days and you don't know who it is.
Right. Let me ask you this. Did you notice anything out of the normal right before it happened with your mama?
Mm-mm.
Okay. And then so you're here, and now you got a pretty good guard dog out there. So, but you're here today by yourself, just like your mama was all those years ago.
My doors stay locked.
Yeah. Well, a lock keeps an honest man honest.
As soon as I walk in, it locks.
Yeah. And I don't know. I promise you we're not gonna get off of it. And I'm gonna be calling you all the time. I'm gonna be like, hey, Christy, this, and this, because that's how my brain works. So don't hate me. And then sometimes you're probably gonna get mad at me, and sometimes I maybe get mad at you, but we have to agree to disagree and move on. All right. It's not gonna be an easy process. It never is. And it's not like it's in the movies. This is real life, real crime, and it's your real pain that you're dealing with. Man, if your lifers, you got to call in what you know. You're older now. You probably have kids of your own, family of your own. Maybe your mama's passed since this happened or whatever. Call in. Somebody knows something. You got to call it in. Can you ask them? Can you do?
If you know anything or have heard of anything, just please call and let them know so they can check it out and we can find out who did this.
Right. And what happened to Barbara Blount. So lifers, you can be totally anonymous. Yes, we have the cooperation of Sheriff Hard and the Livingston Parish Sheriff's Office, but I don't have to follow law enforcement rules. I do not have to turn over my sources to them or anything like that. I don't have to turn anything over to them. But so if you want to remain anonymous, that is totally fine. I do not care. If you want your name in it, that's totally fine too. I'll do that. But whatever you tell me, or Jim Raffman, it'll die with us if you don't want your name in it, etc. I don't care who you are. I care about what you know. So y'all got to help us. Christy, anything else?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. And I appreciate you. Stay strong. I know you live with the pain every day, but I know this makes it fresher, right? And it's gonna get worse before it gets better. And but again, we're not gonna get off of it. And I know this also. Whoever killed Miss Barbara, you already know about this podcast, and you already know you're listening. You're probably gonna be the first one to listen on the episode each week. Guess what, guys? We're coming for you. The best thing you can do is go ahead and turn yourself in now. Explain it as an accident or whatever. But we're coming for you. We're not going to stop. There are things moving in this case right now, Chrissy, that I'm not even going to share with you about. We're working so many tips. We haven't even asked officially for the tips yet, like we're doing today. We're going to start pushing it on social media and everything, and we have so many that have come in. People are really interested and really, they want to find out what happened to your mama also. But sitting here and getting to actually put the human face on your mom and the human face on you and your pain, they're probably going to melt their tip line. And that's what we want y'all. And hey, bad guys, we're coming. And we're not going to stop. And I appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. I'm your host, Woody Overton, Real Life, Real Crime, the podcast. And I'm begging you, call in what you know, no matter how big, no matter how small, hunch, idea, whatever it is, call it in or email it to me, Woody at realliferealcrime.com or Jim at realliferealcrime.com, and we'll be posting the hotline number on all our social media, etc. You can totally remain anonymous. We can bring this home, people. You saw what you did in Courtney Coco's case, and justice for Courtney Coco as always. But let's find out what happened to Barbara Blount. And right now, a brand new Tom Play original that's dropping right now on Spotify, iTunes, and everywhere else. Y'all, this song is special because Tom Play wrote it about someone that died too soon, and kind of fits in with Courtney Coco and Miss Barbara Blount. And till next time or ever, don't let me catch you down on murder by you. Peace.
Get ready, you're gonna do time. Real life, real crime.
Real Life, Real Crime is a true crime podcast brought to you weekly by Woody Overton, Jim Rathman, and executive producer Toby Tomplay.